captured the Zunis. And the Zunis were the one that called us Nabejo. And then probably the Spaniards figured, okay, Navajo, the people who of the land that looks like they got cut up by knives. But I think to make it less complicated, just call us human beings, Dene. And the Dene are family units that move around with a certain region. They don't move around and continue to move on and on. They just keep returning back to their winter pastures and their summer pastures, and sometimes anthropologists refer to the Dene as nomadic people. People always move around in a certain region. They just don't, they're not like the Romans or the English or the Brits or the Americans or the Spaniards. They move. They just plunder and move on and destroy the land and alter cultures, destroy races, and they move on. That's nomadic. We are people that just moved around within a certain aboriginal area. There used to be a lot of parents that in the old days, back in the 1940s, 1950s, a lot of parents decided not to send their children to the government schools because they wanted to keep them home to carry on the culture in the future, to learn the traditional ways. In my situation, my mom tried to keep me away from the schools for about, she was successful for about almost 4 years.
Nan sayış kinli vel yahna gayet ne ayastin kadeve zaten yadi yala.
When they took all the animals, especially the sheep, and then all the laws that came about, including the coal mining and the pollution that is all about, it has affected the sheep. And today the sheep are not what we used to remember from the old days, healthy sheep and giving birth in the normal way and having so many lambs. All that has been altered. The sheep are always sick. They just don't look healthy. A lot of them die all the time during the lambing season. And also when the sheep are taken away from the people, we are forced to depend on the big supermarkets, the processed products. And in the old days, we didn't really hear about supermarkets. Sometimes a man or a family would ride horses for a whole day to go to the trading post. And they bring back just some coffee and tea and sugar and salt and maybe baking powder to make bread. This is all they would bring back. And then we ate a lot of corn, a lot of meat, and a lot of vegetables that we grew, that we collected. It's all part of pollution. There's so many plastics that we throw away, and it's out there in the environment. There's so many cans, there's so many containers that are just blown around out there. And today people are trying to control the littering that's happening, and she blames it on the giant supermarkets. And at the same time, you listen to the radio saying that, oh, go to the supermarket. They have a big deal on this thing. Buy so much. Come on over. Buy as much as you want. And then we're basically buying the litter, the stuff that we're going to pollute the land with. You see little children in the stores, and they're having fits. They're crying, saying, Mom, I want to get this one. And you see little packages of, to her, it's really unknown what these packages are. They're all kinds of colors. They're eating them. They're chewing them. They're sucking on them. Their mouth are the same color as the stuff they're consuming. And she just doesn't know what these kids are consuming. Di these things that they're eating is making the kids not think as humans anymore. These are the weapons of the woman. The man is given the bows and arrows, and this is the weapon of the woman. It's a weapon against poverty. It's a weapon against hunger. That's how the family is healthy. This is your weapon for all the disease and sickness that will come into your family, and the hunger. And nobody will be poor, everybody will be clothed. This is the weapon that the woman has. And this is called the brush for the stone. And you brush off the corn off with the grinding stone. And then also when you spread it out like this, you pour the special mixture for the corn meals. You sift it, you drain the some of the stuff that you want. This is your drainer too, strainer. And then this is the stirring stick. They're all odd numbers. And also the woman takes this and when she's done making the meal, she'll and in the hogan you have a smoke hole. She'll point it up that way and she'll go in a circle and pray with it to thank for the food and the blessing of the food. And then when she's done, only a woman or a girl can ever eat the corns off this. A man or a boy should never eat off these sticks. So these are the things that children aren't learning. These were the tribal schools would have taught. And then there's another one that they use to brush women's hair or men's hair. The spirit people told us to grow our hair long, and that we were given a clothing that we were supposed to wear all the time for the men and the women. And also we were given turquoise necklaces and turquoise jewelry. And this is the identity that the Creator will recognize us, that we're her children. Today we have transformed and we're strangers to the gods now. That's all we are now, the young people. And she's terrified the way the young people look these days. When they say there's an end, they say we have to see that end. We have to know that it's coming. The changes. People have to wake up. That's the only way to avoid the end. This road, you can see that it's so gray because it's got a lot of carbon in it. The first Indian takeover of this mine happened in 1968, and that was like 3 years after the mine opened. And at that time, the mine wasn't as massive as it is right now. And it was the American Indian movement that helped coordinate the takeover. And they had a lot of support from the local people. Even though it's a holiday today, we're kind of like intruding and trespassing. So this is what the Peabody Coal Company is so proud that they've not only restored the land, but they've made it way much better than the way indigenous people have managed it for thousands of years. To me, it's just kind of a real racist way to say that we know how to manage the land. You know, even after we destroy it, we restore it to a much better environment. Once it's reclaimed, they're not allowing people to move back to the reclaimed areas, but they allow the animals and the beef, the cattle, they're allowed to graze there, but not the sheep though, nor the horses. Yeah, she's got more rights than myself. She's provided land, and because she's going to be a hamburger someday. Wow, it's raining in the middle of the drought. Peabody created some rain. I'm having a ball with that water. Should I drive through one more time?
In the smoke of sacred fires, lifted up like holy hands. Understand there's something wrong. There's trouble on the land. Cristoforos, hungry eyes, conquistadors, golden lies. So many ways to steal the prize. Who cares if one more native dies? King's decree across the waves, and Comiendo makes us slaves. The Holy Church, the blood that saves 100 million unmarked graves. Our relatives are watching, our spirit helpers near. 500 years of genocide. Who's left to hear? Who's left to hear?